Hello and welcome back to my channel, and thanks for rejoining me with my basic fantasy solo campaign. We are with our characters in the catacombs under Wraithfield. We had quite an encounter in our last adventure. Let me give you a recap of the situation and we will see if we can discern what is our strategy now. The characters were confronted by two dangerous crypt skeletons which materialized before them. Yes, this is what happened. In this room that was the last room that had all these skulls in alcoves all around and mounds of bones in strange patterns in the center of the room, which we disturbed. They materialized into two what I call crypt skeletons. These were defeated after a prolonged combat, but not before Bartram, our cleric, was critically wounded and Harmer severely reduced in hit points. So he was down to 1 hit point. Bartram was reduced to minus hit points, and his wounds were bound by the party. So I'm going to use this optional rule that's in basic fantasy of allowing characters to go to minus 10, and when they have their wounds bound, they no longer lose 1 hit point per round. They will stabilize, and they stabilize at 0 hit points, but it will require a week's rest to regain 1 hit point. And also, Bartram can only move if helped by another character. So he really is basically walking wounded. So let's just have a quick recap of our situation in this room based on our map. And according to my reckoner, we've basically mapped this room. It takes us up to this point. So we've already done an hour down this dungeon. This is another 20 minutes. So I'm saying that we're going to take another turn to rest and to bind wounds, I would say. So that's probably going to take us up to this point here. And let's just say that to actually do sufficient binding or whatever, we'll go into another turn as well, because it's going to take a while to recover from such an extensive combat. Do the proper searching, do the proper mapping that we needed to do. We do find that the room is empty. We search it and we discover it's empty. What about a wandering monster check? That is what we need to do when we come to 3. So this point here, we need to do a wandering monster check. So a 1 and a 6, we have a wandering monster. So a 6, so there's no wandering monster. So phew, we managed to get away with that one. We are in this room. We have bound Bartram's wounds. He is being stoic, and he's being Bartram. He's not showing any sign. He's not flinching. He says, what happened to me? Last minute, the last thing I remembered was getting clouted by this awful creature, this gangly skeleton. I hope that you managed to dispatch them. We say, yes, we did. And I think just to kind of mark the occasion, I think we maybe just do a quick bit of dungeon dialogue and see whether anything fitting and appropriate can be uttered by the characters. Yeah, I think that's probably worth a little test. See if we can get anything that is going to fortify Bartram's resolve and give him comfort in these dark times and dark places. And we get a 10. And a 10 is, so this is Rowena, and she says this quite flatly: whatever lies beyond that door will burn by my will. So are you referring to this door, Rowena? Have you got a premonition? We are not going to go any further. We are going to have a bit of a party confab, I think, Rowena. Just hold that thought for a second. So we search We search the room. We discover that it is empty. We also notice that the two scimitars, which were used, they're still lying on the floor next to the heap of disintegrated bones of each skeleton. They give off a faint green light and seem to hum quietly when handled. Harmer says, "These are evil blades, but can you not discern these qualities that they have? You know, this faint green light, what is this? Is this some form of enchantment? I am sure they are humming quietly to me. Yes, I will put them in my rucksack and cover them up so they are not seen. We will take them back and consult an armorer about their qualities. Who knows? Maybe we could raise some gold from their sale. Some strange collector, maybe of antiquities, might be interested in such things." So we say, "That is a good idea, Hammer. You store them away. We don't want anything to do with them." He says, "I shall." So we've done our wandering monster check. We have a discussion amongst the party, and we agree that Bartram is too grievously wounded to continue. And we also view that it is not tenable for us to proceed in this dungeon. We've already explored quite a number of rooms. We've done 4 rooms: the Stone Choir, the Ossuary Hall, the Hall of Bones, and the Crypt of Chains. And our last one was the Hall of Bones that we were in. We've done 3 quite unique corridors as well, where we've had little encounters. So we've done a lot in this in the space of what is that? That's almost 2 hours now. We've done quite a lot of adventuring. We do realize that probably it's just not tenable for us to proceed. We need to quit the dungeon and recuperate in the Barrowlight Inn with a plan to return once healed. And that seems like a sound plan. And I thought there's no real kind of statement in basic fantasy of what you move that is beyond exploration rate. So we have mapped all this, so we know we can follow our map, and we know what our footing is going to be. And I've just extrapolated that I've decided that they ordinarily will move ×3 their exploration rate, which is 3 times their movement rate. So if we discount Rowena, who is fast because she hasn't got any armor, they have a move of 30. Where is it? Here. Move 30. So ×3, that's 90 is their exploration rate. So I'm going to say that ordinarily they can move 270, but because they have a walking wounded, I'm going to say they could reduce that to ×2. So 180 per turn. So we gather up the scimitars, we gather up ourselves, we get maybe Halma decides, right, I will bear the burden of Bartram. You can lean against me. Rowena can carry the lantern, and Phelan can probably scout ahead and make sure that the passage is clear. So I've just got my little pawns here, and we'll do it this kind of diamond formation as we proceed back. And we'll just do our little color coding, and I've got the wrong character, the wrong thief. I think that's my 4 against darkness. Well, the rogue Isolde, who's a bit of a Tomb Raider type, a Lara Croft. So I got the wrong one for that. That's what you get for having multiple campaigns all going at the same time. Okay, so we're in that order. What we're going to do is we're going to have to try and retrace our steps before we get another wandering monster check, which we will get in 2 turns. So we will be able to get out before then. Let us count down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we get to this point here. So we go back through this, the flooded gallery, remember that? The whispering passage, whispering away. This was the stone choir. Remember those kind of singing, the mouth open. So really quite unsettling rooms to be passing through. And we think, oh, are we going to get there in time? Are we going to be able to get out? They're almost like clambering to get out now and rest and recuperate. So we'll do, so that's another turn that we've done. So we're up to 5. One, we'll do this, we don't do diagonal, we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we get here. Now this was the ossuary hole. And remember, this had the that skull there, which is the freshly broken skull. Which is, you wonder what on earth broke out of that. That is still to be defined down this dungeon. But who knows, maybe on our second attempt. Unfortunately, we have not made it. We have not got far enough to avoid a wandering monster check. So let us do our wandering monster check and see how we get on. 3. So we do not get a wandering monster. So we could probably make it, hopefully. There's a portcullis. We'll get under that. That has been raised. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This was the dead remember. Yes, and we remember too. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, into, as I say, the sunlight, the gloom of Wraithfield, up, trying to get away from the chill of these ruined cottages, and we are above the surface. We are out. So, Hugh, yes, we can dispense with the little, with the map of the dungeon, and get into Wraithfield mode. So, what is the story with Wraithfield? So, healing and convalescence. The time cost for Bartram, I have calculated. Now, this is based on the basic fantasy rules say that you can heal with normal sleep. You can heal 1 hit point every day, so that's fine. If you are bedbound, if you stay in your bed and you don't do anything else, that goes up to 2 hit points every day. However, for Bartram, because he's gone to a negative amount, he needs another week before he even starts to recover a hit point. So what I've done is I've created a little Grimghast Dominion calendar, and I've just posited the fact that I'm just going to take it from October. And I think we did start about a week or 2 ago in real time. So I've just said, I've just taken Monday the 20th of October. That's when we arrived in Dunmere after we had the little debacle with the orcs, and our mercenary group was ambushed, and we managed to get to Dunmere. That's when we picked up the information about Wraithfield. We spent a night there. We travelled to Wraithfield the next day, and we were in the Barrowlight Inn overnight, and then we entered the catacombs on Wednesday the 22nd. So we are on Wednesday the 22nd when we return. So I've calculated that it's going to take for Valhalla to heal his 6 hit points. If he stays in bed for 3 days, he will be healed on Sunday the 26th. And if Bartram, he'll be healed his 4 hit points that he needs to get back to full strength, plus the fact that he needs to take a week out beforehand. He'll be healed on Saturday the 1st. So that is my little calendar. And what we're going to do is I'm going to try to make this downtime a bit more interesting, and just experiment with a bit of downtime in Wraithfield, and just see what happens. I've got a few encounters. I've got a few, I wouldn't call them encounters, but I've got like a little event tables. I've got our inn encounter table, and I've got the overnight activity table, and I'm going to use them just to see if I can inject a little bit of colour into the proceedings and see what's going on. And also I've got some little vignettes for each of the characters to say what they are doing in this downtime and how they how they react to the situation as they find it. So let us proceed with our little Wraithfield adventure. And we've just gone over the time cost for Bartram. That's 9 days, Harmer 3 days in bed. And Rowena and Fenna will try to keep a low profile. yeah, that's fair. Easily said than done for Rowena. With her visage, and Fenna is not really that type of person. And Rowena is skilled in tending the wounded. So her manner is rather harsh and severe. So I think Bartram, he's probably not a very good patient anyhow, and I don't think Rowena is a very good nurse. Well, she is good, she's efficient, but she hasn't really got a bedside manner. She's really quite harsh and quite a regime. She says, Bartram, get back into bed. Well, Bartram, get back into bed. Stop wandering around. You're too... and none of this praying stuff. Just get back in there and stop all these religious rites. So she's really quite harsh. Fenna, being Fenna, may be tempted to make some independent inquiries and interactions. So we can't really stop Fenna. She's a free spirit. She just tends to wander around. Her attention span is effectively like a goldfish. She's just not. She really has no patience whatsoever. So she's constantly being tempted away. The thin beer is not really very entertaining. The bread is kind of rather poor fare. She's far more interested in getting out about and seeing what's on the go. The question, what about the residents? Well, we've got Godric Gloomvale, our patron, and obviously he is inquisitive. He does ask a lot of questions about exactly what we've seen down there. And we do relate quite a tale because we have a number of different places that we have visited. In the catacombs, we can explain in quite a bit of detail, and we give them a brief glance of our map, our adventurers map, although not too much detail, because we want to try to keep this information kind of within ourselves. And we do mention to him that he is, we would prefer him to keep this secret between ourselves, and not to appear in the village newspaper the next day. This is information that is privy to him, and he has, as a patron, he has the right to know it. And we do reassure him that we will return to the catacombs once rested, and he seems quite satisfied with that explanation. Old Merith, the landlady, she is suspicious, but she's fearful enough of the tales we relate and the wounds we display. So we do show that we've been quite grievously affected by our experience. And we have a story to match. So we give her a special kind of treatment and give her almost like one-to-one consultation, just telling her all our stories. And Fenna could be quite well utilized in kind of amping that up quite a bit, making it sound quite exciting. Rowena, as we say, she's too busy dealing with Bartram. And Harmer is just being the quiet, meditative type that he is, staring out the window. That is his style. So, she's fearful enough of the tales we relate and the wounds we display that she decides to help the characters. So she is going to help. She is going to do what a good landlady does, and she's going to help us in our time of need. So we get private accommodation. Again, all this is on the house because Godric did say that we would get free board and free lodging. That is what we are utilising now. And we do manage to get a good bit of bed rest. And the rooms, not being very... the hearth in this place never gets warm, and there's always a bit of a kind of chill in it. But Bartram is well wrapped up. He's being kept warm. He's trying to sweat a fever out. Hopefully he's not going to get some form of tomb rot or some terrible disease from being down in this place. But we've got Rowena on hand, and I'm sure she'll be able to administer some form of medical remediation, which probably involves something that is very like a hot poker or something, and she can burn it out. let us hope it does not come to that. And we also find out, we ascertain that the local priest, Father Gaunt, he has left and is said to be consulting with the head of his order in Dunmere. So this sounds very interesting. I wonder what Father Gaunt is wanting to speak to his, apart from the fact that his village is disintegrating around about him. He's had his old chapel, he's had to abandon it, and they've had to create a new one. And all these hauntings or whatever, and now he's got some adventurers that have appeared, and one of them does look rather ghastly and really quite demonic. Maybe he has good cause to go and want to speak to his superior and see whether he or she can give him a bit of advice. We did have that sister that appeared earlier on, but she seems to have departed. She's off to meet the abbess, the evil, I call her the evil abbess, in the prison. But she is no longer on site, so maybe he does not have a fellow cleric or whatever that he can speak to. He needs to speak to his superior, and obviously Bartram, being a new person that has appeared, is a cleric. However, he might not feel that he has this trust, and he wants to speak to someone of his own chapter. Most of the villagers are in quiet awe of the adventurers and keep their distance. They fear they may have been touched, inverted commas, by the spirits that haunt the catacombs. So they're keeping a kind of a wary distance of the adventurers. They are not hostile and they are not welcoming. They are kind of neutral. There is this quiet awe that they have. And they feel that the characters should not be approached. So, our characters during this time, what are they doing? Well, we've got Bartram Ironmark. He is bedridden. And during the course of the week, some frightened villagers, they do try to visit, and they're hoping for blessings because he is a cleric, and their cleric, the Father Gaunt, has gone. They're looking for blessings or to confess their sins. Rowena frightens them away. She goes, "Whoa, go, be gone! Do not disturb Bartram. He is recovering. He does not have time for this." And they're all, all we wanted was just, for him to give us a blessing, and we need to confess our sins. She says, come back later, make an appointment. She really is quite frightening. She's quite good at maintaining Bartram's, almost like his convalescence. He is he's been put into quarantine, and she feels that he has to be maintained with a 100% vigilance. And that is what she is doing. Harmer Ravenscroft, our fighter, he spends his brief convalescence mending armor and watching the window. And once healed, he accompanies Fenner on short tours around the village. So he's going to become active on Sunday the 26th. So after 3 days in bed, he pops out. He says, "Yes, I feel refreshed. I feel ready for any eventuality. I see that you are getting bored, Fenner, and I think I need to give you a bit of company. We can go for little tours around the village at your leisure." And then Rowena Wormsbane, she tends to Bartram in silence, and the innkeeper avoids her gaze. So the innkeeper, Old Merith, does not really like Rowena, and I don't think many people do. She's got this very abrasive manner, and she is quite frightening to look upon with her white skin, even though she does have what we would classify in a kind of classical sense, beauty. It's her overall manner, her overall frightful other physical attributes of white skin and red eyes. It doesn't really seem to be conducive to an appreciation of maybe her finer points. So the innkeeper avoids her gaze. A child actually comes up and dares her for a coin to show her red eyes. The boy doesn't sleep that night. That shows you how scary she is. Yes. So he doesn't do that again. So that's the last time she gets a dare. And then Fenna Thornfield, she's bored and restless. Yes. One evening, and this is probably, let's say it's one of these evenings when before Halmer is healed, and she is really just kind of so bored, she's got no company whatsoever. She slips into the woods at dusk. She returns pale and unwilling to speak of what she saw. But what has she seen? Well, we're not going to be able to find out because she won't speak about it. She's maybe taken a bit of a shock. It's maybe going to take her a little bit of a time to recover, but I'm sure she will bounce back as soon as Halmer is healed, and they'll be out doing their little gallivanting together. Maybe she will open up to Halmer at some later stage, but she has seen something out. Maybe it was just she is being confused by something. We do not know. Okay, so we've got to the point where we've got a daily procedure, and I'm going to invoke that now. The one last thing I want to maybe just allude to is an action, and we think we want to consult the local smith, and we found out that he's called Egrin. We will do that later on, probably once Halmer is healed, and he can take the swords, the scimitars, to Egran. And see what Egrin feels about these scimitars. But in the meantime, let us do something experimental with our downtime. And I'm just going to have a little procedure here. And just, let's see if this works. And it'd be good. It generates a little bit of entertainment for our characters. We've got our master here. So we're on, we've just returned that evening. Let us say that we are on Thursday the 23rd. We're the start of Bartram and Halmer's healing, intensive healing. What I'm going to say is that I will have a daily procedure, and there's a 1 in 6 chance we can check the inn and village event table, or a 1 in 6 chance we check the inn residence table, and a 1 in 6 chance we check the inn nighttime encounters table. So let us do number for Thursday. And we will do, and what we can do is we could either have the dice rolling as color-coded, and we could have black, red, and white. Should we have that and just have them at once? And then we could do, so I can have black, red, and white, and I'll remember that. And we can just roll them for each day and see what we get. So, Thursday. All right, so we get an inn event. So I've got a B there. Okay, so that's Thursday. And shall we just do it? Yeah, I think we should just do it as we get it. I think that's the best way to, instead of doing, because I was thinking maybe I could do it a bit like what I do for my AD&D campaign. I've got a big column, 15 column sheet. Where I can lay out the week in advance, and I can say, well, there's going to be someone appearing on such and such a day, and whatever. But I think I'll just do it as and when. So we're going to check on the inn and village event table. Let's see what we get. So we get 2. All right. So on the Thursday, so this one here, we've got an event. I'll put event. An inquisitor's messenger arrives. He is asking questions about the parties and what he would call unlicensed relics or magic. So for some reason, he has heard rumors emanating from the village. This has been very quick. They've only been back one night, but already the rumors are starting to circulate. It may even be false rumors, but it has got to the ears of the Inquisition. And they have sent a messenger, and he's asking questions about the party. He will leave that evening. He goes. Who knows what, but that is the hearsay that comes back to our characters. We don't actually make a direct encounter with this individual. We want to try and keep away from the Inquisition. But for some reason, they are on to, they know of our presence. So I can put Inquisition and that is going to be quite significant, I think, for future, that we are on the radar. And they are suspicious. So maybe they even like the scimitars, the fact that someone has seen them. We have been talking about them. Or just the fact that we have emerged from the catacombs and we're giving off maybe this aura. The fact that we are potentially being touched. This strange word. Maybe that is adding to our mystique and has alerted the Inquisition. They don't like this type of thing. They're really trying to do a bit of a kind of firefighting, a kind of attempt to stamp out wherever they can any of this corruption kind of emanating, and they're on a kind of bit of a losing battle just now. But they do sometimes come down quite hard on certain areas and certain individuals. Could this be could this be the Inquisition about to strike in the village? And a messenger. That is not a good foreboding. So that is the event on Thursday. Let us move on to Friday and see if anything of note appears on Friday. So we've got another black one. We've got another event. So it's all happening on the village events table. So we won't have an Inquisition guy again. If we do, maybe that is the full party coming to come and get us and chase us out of town with pitchforks. So we get a 4 this time. Right. A travelling peddler brings rumours of grave robbers in Dunmere. Okay, so this rather it's probably a bit threadbare individual, a peddler that's been travelling along the road. He's come from Dunmere, he's gossiping away in the Barrowlight Inn, and he's talking about, there's these grave robbers on Dunmere, and unfortunately, the locals assume it's the party. So we're basically not on red alert, but we are now under suspicion. So not only we had the Inquisition making inquiries about us, we have got some rumours, the fact that we could be connected with being grave robbers. Not brave adventurers, although remember, in this world, adventurers are quite on the periphery. So we are being tarnished, I suppose, with the more negative connotation of adventurers as being outlaws, as being opportunists, and grave robbers. My goodness, what a terrible epitaph that is for our party. So we really are, maybe just our PR is being really quite eroded. So we've got event 4, and I'll put grave robber, and I'll remember what that is. So our reputation has been quite undermined. So maybe the awe is turning into a bit of suspicion now, and maybe what we're going to do is maybe try to get our patron Godric to maybe do a bit of PR on our front and try to get to assuage the locals. And put in a good word. And old Merith, she is suspicious, and maybe her suspicions is being stoked by this type of activity. This is maybe not such a good thing. Well, that is Friday out of the way. My goodness, 2 events. We've had the Inquisition, we've had this peddler. The peddler, he does what peddlers do, and he heads off the next day. So we don't really get the time to confront him. So we're on to Saturday. We have no events or anything happening on Saturday, so that is good. On Sunday, Halmer is healed. He feels much better. He gets out of bed. We don't have any events or anything happening on Sunday. We come to the Monday. Nothing happening on the Monday either. On the Tuesday, this is really quite a turn-up. If you remember our first night, we had all sorts of things happening. So obviously we are trying to keep a low profile. Certainly after the events that have happened earlier on in the week, we don't really want to try to, maybe we have been quite affected by these 2 events, and we really don't want to get into any more trouble. So Tuesday, nothing. Wednesday, Oh, right. Oh, so we've got 2. So it's all happening on, it's kicking off on Wednesday. And we get a white, we get a black, and we get a white. So what does that mean? What does a white mean? And a white, all right, so we check the in nighttime account. So let's do the village event first and see what happens with the village event. In and village event table. And we get a 6 this time. So what is the 6? And a 6 on my table is, where's my 6 gone? There we go. Right. Someone leaves a strange gift at the inn door. A silver talisman marked with a coiled serpent and dried blood. What does this mean? Wow. It's a small gift, a silver talisman. Right. What could this mean? I cannot fathom what that could be. This maybe is the coiled serpent. Maybe that is a sign of the sect, the cult. Silver talisman. And that's left. And then maybe this is even stoking even more suspicion on our characters, because this is a strange event that seems to be associated with us. Or is it being viewed independently? I think I'll take a little of a rain check and try to determine what the implications of that is. But certainly with the actual talisman itself, with its coiled serpent, and the fact that it has dried blood on it, I think that is going to be of significance further down the line. Okay, and we did have the other thing, which was to check the in nighttime encounter. And what we do for the in nighttime encounter, I think, is a D8. Do we do that? Just get my table out. On that, I think it's in my, yeah, here we go. In nighttime encounter, and what we're going to do is roll a D8. So that night, on the Wednesday, we've had the silver talisman at the door, number 8. Right, so near dawn, a pale figure is seen standing by the hearth. Silent, motionless, dressed in the garb of an ancient age. It fades as the first light touches the window. Any spilled drink left nearby tastes of salt and tears. So this is probably hearsay from some of the, so probably Fenner, let's say Fenner is up early. She sees this vision. And some of the locals who are in the next day, they are, they're going, these drinks, who left these drinks nearby? They've got a funny taste, I think. That is a bit strange. So we're really, the pale guest, the little silver talisman coiled. That has been a bit of a crazy day. The pale guest. So again, more suspicion, more things that are appearing while our characters, come on, Bartram, you really need to heal quickly. We could be getting into trouble. The locals are maybe getting a wee bit on the restive side. This is maybe not too good. So let's get on to Thursday and see how we get on. So luckily we don't have anything happening on a Thursday, and on a Friday, right, we have a nighttime, we have a white, we have a W. Ooh, that was on a Friday, W. So let's get the D8 employed and see what we get. We get a 6 this time. All right, so on the Friday, the cry from the marsh. A distant, drawn-out scream echoes from the fen beyond the village. It continues far too long to be human. The next morning, mist clings to the inn's doorstep like smoke, and frogs will not croak for the rest of the day. So frogs must be in the habit of croaking. I suppose the thing about this post-apocalypse type world is that it's being quite inundated with water, and there's a lot of fenland now. So there's probably a lot of these kind of amphibious type creatures like frogs and toads whatever. So there's probably a lot of croaking going on. They will not be croaking today. That's it. And there's been a bit of smoke. There's mist. Old Mary says, "This is very strange, this mist. And did you hear that terrible cry from the marsh during the night? That was not very good. That was not very nice." So I'll put the cry from the marsh. It does not have any real impact on our characters, apart from maybe just making it a bit disconcerting. But the next day, the good news is Bartram is healed. So we are back into action. I think the team is reformed. And what we can do, I can see the time, and what I think we will do for the next adventure is we'll get ourselves into a position where we can actually get back down into the catacombs. One last thing I want to do is the action that Harmer mentioned. He's got these 2 scimitars. We're going to consult the local smith, Egrin. So as soon as Bartram's healed on Saturday, we go back to him. We go to see Egrin, and we say, "Egrin, we got these 2 scimitars that we took from the catacombs." And he confirms that the blades are enchanted, and he reckons that they are from the days of the Witch Kings, and he thinks they are being used as soldiers' weapons. He says they are cruel and evil blades. And also he gives the information that they give some magical power to the wielder in terms of potency versus creatures immune to physical blades. So ordinarily certain creatures in basic fantasy will only be harmed by magical weapons. So these aren't giving a plus to hit or whatever, but they could be used to strike creatures, maybe like shades or shadows or things that are spirit type creatures. They can only be affected by magic. So Harmer says, right, well, this might be useful. I feel quite loath carrying these things around, but we might be able to deploy them back in the catacombs if we come up against some spirit-like creature. And the chances are that is probably going to happen. These blades were forged for a reason, to fight maybe other they are the Witch Kings. They probably had civil wars, and they had, within their legions, maybe they had creatures that were immune to physical weapons, and they could use these as kind of a potent way of getting through those defenses. Okay, well, I think we've done probably enough for today. As I said, what we're going to do is we're going to gird ourselves to get ready for... we could probably, because this is actually the day that Bartram heals, we can go and consult Egrin in the morning, and then probably at lunchtime venture back down into the dungeon. I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to do probably late morning. We're going to go back down these stairs and probably try to get back to the position where we were. There is a locked door here. We haven't actually tried this door here, which was not locked. Potentially we could try that. Let us work out what our strategy is at the start of the next episode, and we can probably work out what would be the best way of trying to progress into this dungeon. I've still got 2 more chits I need to roll in my tier 1 for my rooms, and 1 more chit to take for my corridors. So let's see where that takes us. And I'm hoping that, maybe the chit system is working okay. I've been quite entertained myself by just the sequence that these things have come out. And, I've basically, when I do this chit system, I do forget really exactly what I wrote for the individual rooms. And the way that they're coming out just kind of randomly, it's really quite exciting for me too. To see how how these things all connect together, I feel that I'm exploring with you as well. It's probably obviously fresh to yourselves because you're not involved in the creative process for these rooms, but I do get the feeling myself that I am exploring it quite anew. and it's a revelation when I'm coming into new rooms. Okay, right. Well, I think that's enough for today. As I said, we're going to be cracking down the dungeon in the next episode. Hope you want to join me then.